back to another Sims 3 speed build. So I could get some of this video out. I've had quite a few requests to see if I can get this house done. I had to cut a lot of the video footage out. I have so far worked on this house now for 10 hours. I am still not done. I thought I was done a couple of days ago when I finished the upstairs, and I realized, crap, I have a basement. So I had to cut quite a bit out of this video just so I could, shorten it. It will be 2 parts. The download link will be in the second part. So once I get the second part up and going, that will be when the download link is, put in. Currently this house is not done. It is now up to 390 some thousand, I believe, and I have some more of the basement yet to finish. So there'll be some areas that I do speed up a little faster than usual, and other areas that'll be, brought back down on speed. Like I said, a lot is cut out, including the coloring of the exterior, adding windows, just, repetitious stuff like that. You see me do it all the time. So if you're unfamiliar on what I do when it comes to windows, siding, and darkening different areas of the house, I turn it black and stuff like that, just go ahead and watch one of my other speed builds on the channel. I have a lot of Sims 3 speed builds, quite a few Sims 4 builds, so if you're interested, go ahead and check them out. But those will show a little bit more on what I do in my building process, because with this one being as big as it is, I don't show a lot of it, and that includes the roofing and some of the other little minor details. There is a horse barn and garage. You see part of it, but I cut a lot of that out. And some of the gardening areas, the outside decorating is cut out as well. There's also a little small maze at this property that I have cut out. Just a lot of different things are cut out. So again, probably not the best video of mine to watch if you want to see some of the building of it, because a lot of it is cut out, unfortunately. I guess 10 hours, that's a long time. When I had this was, I think this is probably 8 hours worth of video. No, probably 6 or 7 hours of video here. And it wanted to be a total of, I think, 48 minutes, I think, with it being sped up. And I have it down to 27, if that tells you a little bit of how much footage is cut out. I try to leave some in, but other areas, like I said, I do end up cutting it out. So a little bit about this build. This is a luxury house that I am building. It goes with my challenge that I created from the ground up. So if you want to see that series, I'm also recording it. So I have that series on my channel if you want to see it from the beginning to end. Basically, it is where my sim he started out in the world all by himself. No Sims there, no houses, no community lots, nothing. And he has to pretty much build everything. So this is just one of the houses he has to build. You don't see any money because in the challenge, if you're able to rent, you can go ahead and do that. So that's what my sim is doing. I'm using NRODs and stuff to rent multiple houses out for more income. And to build the house and then rent it, it meant my sim had to purchase the house twice. And I didn't feel that that was very fair to him to have to do that twice. So I'm just building the houses, and then he just has to purchase it, which is the same cost as it is when he would have had to build it, so that would be why you don't see any dollar signs. So this is a luxury home. At this time, I can't tell you for sure how many bedrooms or bathrooms it is. Let me think here. The top story has 3 bedrooms and 1 bath upstairs. There's a bedroom on the main floor and 2 bathrooms, I believe, on the main floor. So that's 3 bathrooms and 4 bedrooms. The basement has another bathroom so far. Like I said, I'm not done with the basement yet. So far, a bathroom down there. So that's 4 bathrooms and at least 1 more bedroom. So at least 5. I think I'm going to make another room into a gym, but I haven't decided if that's going to be a bedroom or a gym yet. So it could possibly turn out to be 6 bedrooms. Like I said, I don't really know because I don't have the basement done yet. But the basement also has a laundry room, kind of a small little game area. It has a, what is that? A ping pong table. The garage, like I said, there's a laundry room down there. This property has a total of a 4-car garage. It has 2 separate, and then it has one that's attached to the barn, and it's full of gardens. So one thing I want to say about this lot that's different from any other lot that I've ever done, it plays fine from what I have seen so far. I mean, when I'm building, I can move around it pretty good. So I would have to say that in play mode or live mode, live mode, it probably plays pretty good. But if you want to build in it or decorate, it takes it some time to load. And the reason why it does is because of all the flowers I have on the lot. If you want to minimize how long it takes to load into build mode, whether you're in game and you just want to add something to the house, or you just want to go into edit town and change something, I suggest getting rid of as many of the gardens as possible, because that is really what takes it so long. It's got to render all of those plants. My computer, I would have to say, is probably a medium grade to high medium grade computer. My graphics card is no longer the most newest, so you'll have to, if you have a better graphics card than mine, it'll probably render it faster and maybe won't take as long to load and things like that. But for me, it does take a little bit. But once it's loaded, it runs fine. It works fine. The lighting sometimes, I notice anyway, in the build portion, takes a little bit to, render the lighting. But like I said, again, that's probably from all these plants. Once you see the gardens and everything, you'll understand that there is a lot of plants going on in this build. So, yeah, it definitely it's going to take a lot when it comes to rendering it. But other than that, it seems to do just fine so far. I'm not having any problems with it whatsoever. Like with the building portion, I'm in the decorating part now, and really decorating it moves really the same as it does in any other build that I decorate. So I would have to say, for the most part, it's fine. Just remember, rendering, it's going to take some time. So the rendering of this build, like I said, it's slow. So anyway, I'm still working on the exterior. The exterior takes majority of this video here, because I do end up putting a lot of time. I don't normally do exterior decorating, but because of it being such a large lot, I didn't even realize what I was doing when I picked this lot. But it's a really big lot, and I decided to do my best to fill it in as much as I possibly could, so that way it doesn't have, that way it's not so bare. So here, as you can see, I'm just doing some more of the gardens. The barn and everything is already in. The horse stall is already in. I apologize again for not being able to watch it all, but I really didn't want to have 2 videos, if you were to combine them together, to equal out to be like 2 hours or more in length. I really wanted to shrink this down as much as I could for you. That way it wasn't quite so, lengthy, because even myself would have a hard time watching it that long. I don't have a problem watching speed builds, as long, even if it's like 30 minutes, as long as, there's a lot of different things and it's not showing a whole lot of repetition, like putting in a bunch of plants, stuff like that. As long as, I get to see different things on what, how they designed it. So I tried to keep as much in as I could, so you could see how I did what I did. That way it would, maybe you can learn something, even though it is sped up quite a bit. So just doing some more of like flower boxes is kind of what I am doing here. Just something to try to help take up space. Like I said, everything I'm doing outside is really to try my best to take up space. So like this is a small like exterior garden Sims can kind of sit in, maybe watch the horses play in the fenced in yard, stuff like that. There's some benches and a few things like that, but nothing too extravagant here. I think the gardens around the property is what's more fancy about it, more than anything. So yeah, I'm not really too sure what all to say. I mean, really, I'm just putting in the flowers, and just kind of decorating it around. Went ahead and did some terrain paint here to just kind of make it look like your Sims are at least walking on something other than dirt. I think my favorite part of the house, is probably the backyard garden. I think what makes this house so unique compared to any others is it is literally, if you haven't noticed, sitting on a diagonal. And if you've ever built on a diagonal, you realize how difficult that really is. If you don't use move objects on, to decorate a diagonal house is really impossible. You really can't do it unless you have move objects on. So this house, like I said, is literally sitting pretty much completely on a diagonal, which gives the illusion of diagonal stairs when really they're still going the same direction as the grid. And you'll see multiple times I forget that I'm sitting on a diagonal. I will literally forget while I'm decorating. It's like, oh, that's right, crap. This house is on a diagonal. I can't do that. Because your pictures, mirrors, and everything on the walls will act different. Your windows act different. Your curtains act different. I mean, it's completely different than if you were to be building on the grid itself, like with the grid. So again, here's just another flower garden. The decorating and stuff on the outside wasn't too bad. It was interior decorating is when I realized, crap, this is a diagonal. I can't do that. And I'm reminded of myself of doing that repeatedly, it seemed like. So, but yeah, it was definitely a challenge in order for me to do that. So it's one of those things where if you want a little, like if you're having builder's block or anything like that and you can't think of what to do, try a diagonal build. It'll definitely give you a challenge. It will make you think maybe a little bit different on how you do things. You know, everything about it's different, putting everything in, whether it's like a pathway like this, everything is just done differently because of it being on a diagonal. So if you're having builder's block, give it a try. See what you come up with. Roofing is a lot different. I remember the first time I did a diagonal build, the roofing was probably my biggest nightmare. I am much better at the roofing now than I used to be, but the roof acts a lot different as well because it follows the grid. Everything follows the grid. So when you go on a diagonal on a square grid, your diagonal line is actually bigger than just going from corner to corner. So everything acts different, and the roofing is no different. So that would probably be, I think, one of the hardest things, or like I said, I'm getting much better at the roofing now, so doing the diagonal roof on this house wasn't quite as bad. I went through it. I mean, I struggled a little bit, but more or less it was just trying to get the house to look right, and I almost always struggle with roofing anyway when it comes to building a house, because I always have a vision in my head on how I want it to look, and to try to get that to work out in the Sims, whether it's Sims 4, Sims 3, it doesn't seem to matter. I always struggle to try to come up with what I want and to get it to work. So yeah, the roofing is a bear to begin with, and then to do it on a diagonal is a lot worse. So here, just trying to figure out some kind of exterior lighting, that way your Sims aren't completely in the dark. I don't always like the actual lights that you can see, so a lot of times I will put in the little glass globe looking things. That way they can be a little bit more hidden. And I like to light up everything that way. So again, a lot of stuff, as you see, has been cut out. Some more of the gardening areas or the exterior gardening is cut out. There's just a little bit of the black that I put in. And just trying to get the ground to slope good and to look nice, that it slopes nice away from the house. This area was a little bit of a pain in the rear because, constrained floor elevation, gotta love it. So this house does have quite a bit of that. So if you mess with that too much, you're not familiar with it, you might, completely mess something up. So be real careful if you use it. It's not extreme on the constrained floor elevation. I do have other builds that are a lot more extreme, like my charmed house that I did is a lot more extreme when it comes to that, but there are areas in this build that will be a little bit challenging if you were to turn that on and then forget to turn it off. You might really mess something up. And I occasionally did screw stuff up here and there, but you know, I know enough about it to fix it, and that's what I did. So yeah, just a little bit of struggle with that. So on with some more gardening. I did a lot. So as you can see here, just with this flower bed alone, the amount of rendering it takes. I mean, look at all those lilacs. I don't know what that other plant is that I put in, but I put a lot of them in. And that is where your rendering is going to come into play. So if you want it to be, you know, easier on your computer, easier on your graphics card to render it, maybe get rid of some of these gardens, because there's a lot of gardens. Now, if you have, like I said, a better graphics card than I have, and maybe a more powerful computer than what I have, you probably won't have any problems whatsoever with this lot, and it'll probably render fine for you. But like I said, I'm okay with it. I'm okay if it takes it a little while. It's not a problem for me, because I really like the way it looks. So if you're okay with it, then you know that's great. So here's just a little gazebo. I was trying to figure out what I wanted here. I actually tried one other idea that I don't show because it didn't turn out, so why even show it? I wanted to do like a sunk in sitting area, but it really looked awful, especially with it being on a diagonal. It seemed to make it look even worse. I don't know, something about it didn't look really good. So this just makes it look like this gazebo area is on an angle because the house is diagonal. So if you have that house where it looks straight, then the gazebo looks at a diagonal. Or if you have the gazebo straight, then the house would look like it's diagonal. So it's kind of neat either way. I ended up putting some of these flower gardens, some more of them. Like I said, there's full. I mean, this place is full of gardens. Lots of them. I don't think I've ever had gardens this much before in any of my builds. So I did have fun with it. Don't expect a lot of gardens and stuff like that in future builds because it's not really my thing. But it was fun. I did enjoy. It did make me rack my brain. I think I probably spent almost a week alone trying to think of different ideas of what I could do with the gardens in this place. So it was not a build all at one shot. I did have to leave and come back to get more ideas. So that does kind of help a little bit if you can do that. You know, if you start building, maybe come back, you'll have more ideas. And maybe think of something you didn't think of the first time you did it. So I wanted to fill up this space. It just seemed a little odd or awkward. So I just threw in some plants and hope it looks good. I don't really know if it does. I just kind of threw stuff in. Hopefully these flowers look good. I wanted to use a variety of them, but I'm not a gardener and I don't really know what flowers look good with each other. So, and again, another little spot there. I just wanted to fill it in. I didn't know what to do with it. Adding some more exterior lights, just a bunch of lights that you can't see because I find that the glow of them seem to look better. I have to put in a whole lot of the invisible lights, as you'll see around the house, just a bunch of invisible lights to help light it up. That way at night it doesn't look so choppy, gives it more of a smooth transition look. I did my best to try to do that as much as I could for you. But you won't see them in game. So don't worry about that. You won't see a whole bunch of squares all over the place in game. And again, some more flower gardens around the horse or the barn area and the garage. Some more of them light. So now finally, I didn't show putting in the walls because again, that's repetition. And it was just something I felt I could, take out without a problem. So this is the kitchen area. It opens up into the family living area. I kind of call it more like a living room area. I didn't put a TV because there's a TV down in the basement instead. There's an office on the first floor, a formal dining area. You can eat at the bar at this kitchen. It's kind of a different type of bar, as you'll see eventually when I get to it. I do make it a little bit different than others. I felt it was a little bit more fancy. But there is a little sit-in table area and bench. Your Sims won't be able to sit on the bench, unfortunately, because it's a fake bench or a fake. Yeah, that's right here. I do this quite often but it's fake. Your Sims can't sit there. It's just kind of decorated. But your Sims can use the table to put food and everything. And if you wanted, you could probably put a chair or two there, and then they can use a table, but the bench is not usable. So unfortunately, your Sims cannot sit in that nook. It's just merely decoration. So just kind of doing a little bit more stuff around this kitchen, adding as much clutter as I could. I like to have stuff on top of the refrigerator because honestly, I mean, unless you are somebody who doesn't have much in your kitchen, who doesn't have stuff sit on top of the refrigerator? I mean, I know I do. But I mean, so to me, things go on the refrigerator. Either you're one of them people that put cereal boxes on top, or maybe you put, you know, some canisters with stuff that you don't use all the time maybe up there. Or like me, for example, I have bags of plastic silverware. And then I have some crystal glasses that I've gotten for Christmas, or other glass crystal things that I've sitting up there that I haven't figured out where I want to put them. They're currently sitting on my refrigerator. So, but here you can see what I mean about the bar area being a little bit different. Your Sims should be able to use it just fine. It isn't something I have currently been able to test yet, since this build is not done. And since it's not done, that's why I haven't been able to test it. So here I used a mod to lower the kitchen cabinets. Don't worry, you do not need the mod in order to have that. When you put this lot into your game, the cabinets will be lowered already for you, even without the mod. Just keep in mind that if you were to do anything to them, delete them, you're not going to be able to put them back in that spot again if you were to change your mind without the mod. So that's the same with the curtains. When I move and adjust the height of the curtains, it's from a mod. Don't worry, you don't need the mod to do that. The lot will come already that way. So getting pretty close, about a minute left of this speed build here. Don't forget to stay tuned. Hit the like button, hit the little bell so you're notified of when the next video is uploaded. That way you can see the remaining of this video. And again, the download link will be in that video, in the description of that video. So like I said, we only have, looks like 30 seconds left of this speed build. Hopefully, I can't remember if it includes all the kitchen or not, but the rest of the next video will be the rest of the decorating. So I hope to see you there. And if you have any comments or suggestions for anything in the future, go ahead and leave them below. And you have a wonderful day. Bye.